everyone. We did our presentation on hydration. So we're just hoping to share with you what we learned and all that good stuff.
Okay, so obviously our presentation is about hydration, and we tried to really focus on how much water the student body here drinks every day. So we made a survey monkey and had people at our booth take it if they wanted to. We had 69 participants take our survey. So a survey monkey gave us a lot of data and breakdown on our questions, and we're just going to share what we thought was interesting and expand upon those questions that we asked you guys. So one thing that I thought was kind of shocking as I was looking through the data was that 62% of the people who responded to our survey said that they don't drink pop every day. I thought that there was going to be a lot more people saying that they did drink at least one or more glasses of pop a day, just because in the BBC, in the cafeteria here, pop is really accessible. It's right there for you to grab whenever you want. And pop has a lot of caffeine in it too, and I think caffeine is something that college kids tend to thrive on. I drink pop a lot more than I know I should, just because it can taste good with the food that they have in the cafeteria for us, and caffeine is pretty essential to my life. So then comparing soda and water, we noticed that 50% of people said that they drink 1 to 4 glasses of water a day. Just as general knowledge, we kind of know that depending on body size and your gender, it can be as high as 8 or more glasses a day of water that you should drink. So I figured since people weren't drinking pop that maybe they'd respond and say they were drinking a little bit more water. So it really just made me think, okay, since you're not drinking pop and you're only drinking 1 to 4 glasses of water a day, what else are you consuming? So that's some things that I thought was interesting.
Some other things that I thought was interesting was that we had a whole bunch of grapes set out at our table, and a lot of people were kind of like, oh, well, why do you have grapes if you are like hydration? A lot of people actually didn't know that like grapes and other fruits like watermelon and such, they do actually contain a lot of water, and so that could be a good source of like your water intake if you don't necessarily like the taste of water. On our survey, we did notice that there was around 70% of the people that said that they took a handful of fruit each day. So like Katie was kind of talking about, you could get fruit like from the calf or from the BBC, so that's kind of where they were getting that fruit from. But yeah, again, we were just kind of surprised at how a lot of people responded in the fact that they didn't like the taste of just plain water. So we were just kind of thinking of different ways of how we could kind of change that up a little bit.
And one of our questions on the survey was asking students ways they would be more interested in drinking more water, and one of them was actually to infuse the water with fruits because they don't like the taste of plain drinking water. And they also suggested to have more fruits in like the cafeteria and the BBC, maybe not just for hydration, but because they like fruits. And they suggested having more water fountains around campus because the more fountains there are, the more accessible the water is. And having a cool water bottle was actually one of the top choices of how to stay hydrated because, you know, who doesn't want to whip out a cool water bottle and drink out of it? And one thing that I thought was interesting that somebody suggested was that there should be reminders around campus, like posters or those little slideshows on the TVs in the cafeteria about staying hydrated and drinking more water as students.
Another thing that people said a lot when they were coming up to our table is they really enjoyed that we provided a map of campus and highlighted where there are drinking fountains and where the cafeteria and the BBC are, so you always know when you're here where you can get something to drink if you need it. And people did also say that they really enjoy using the water bottle fillers that are attached to some of the drinking fountains and would appreciate if there are more of those around campus because it's an incentive to kind of have fun and fill up your water bottle and makes it easier to stay hydrated.
Yeah, another thing people really noticed about our poster was that we found a website that actually showed you how much water you should be taking in each day. And like in our articles, we found that like it really depends on like your age, your weight, your height, your activity level, your environment, and things like that. So a lot of people were actually surprised that like it isn't just a certain amount you should drink each day, and that's the same for each person. But it really does fluctuate kind of on, like I said, like your age, your weight, your height, and all that good stuff. And even like for activity level, like with a lot of like athletes on campus as well as like people who like to go to the gym, they should be taking in more water than say someone who just likes to sit around all day and not really do much. But yeah, it just kind of was nice to see that people were so interested in like that website and just giving them tools to see how much water they should be taking in each day.
And a lot of people were actually surprised that environment factored into the individual characteristics of how much water someone should take. And I know personally, last summer I went to Arizona and it was really hot and a dry heat, so I didn't really sweat, but the heat was still absorbing the water from my body, so I naturally had to drink more water. So it's just things like that that really factor into how much water a person should drink.
Well, thanks for everyone taking our survey, and we hope you enjoyed our presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh.